All right, I think we're live. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to our semi-annual West Region San Francisco Asset Management Industry Meeting. It's wonderful to see so many faces here today, braving the rain. And as you all know, this is, I think, the third or fourth of these meetings that we're actually broadcasting online as well. So for those of you who have maybe staff or colleagues who weren't able to come here in person, we always love to see everybody. We think it's a great opportunity for our HUD staff and asset management to get some face time with our cherished owners and agents and the industry we work with. But in case you're not able to travel here, we also are posting this online, and you can watch it live on our webcast, or you can watch it. We actually post it on YouTube after the fact, so you can watch it at your leisure after the time that it broadcasts too. So thank you. I'm Alexa Jeffress. I'm the Director of Asset Management for the West Region in the San Francisco Regional Office. And I'm going to kick off today. We have a great presentation with a lot of wonderful presenters, so we'll get right into it. So here's the agenda for today. Hopefully most of you picked up an agenda when you came in. We've got a really busy agenda with lots of great topics. So I'm going to walk you through first just a general update on what's happening with asset management in the West region for multifamily. You've been hearing about our multifamily transformation for many months now. It feels like years. And we're really at the end of it, and there's been a lot of changes, and we're in the process of rolling out our new organizational model. We have a lot of changes with staffing and our regional distribution, our workload, so I'm going to walk you through some of that. I'm also going to give you an overview of some of the policy priorities that are going to be highlighted for this fiscal year. And then we're going to have Marie Maswi, who's one of our new branch chiefs in asset management, give you an update on our changes in communication protocols. As you know, with the change to a much larger portfolio, a much larger territory, the way we receive requests has become very critical to success as an organization. So we've made a lot of changes there. We're continuing to make changes, and Marie's going to update you on that. Then another one of our new branch chiefs in asset management, Ramona Mitchell, is going to give you an update on what's happening with MORs, because I know that's a hot topic for many of you with the resumption of MORs this year. It's all good news, trust me. And then Paul Williams, one of our resolution specialists, is going to talk about utility benchmarking and the EPA portfolio manager tool. As you know, energy efficiency and utility benchmarking is a huge priority for the department this year. And there have been some big changes in guidance in that recently, too. So Paul's going to walk you through that. Then Amanda Kochak, another new staff person here. You can see there have been a lot of changes, a lot of new faces. She's going to talk about some other interesting new guidance, which is the Family Self-Sufficiency Program and a notice that came out earlier this year. Next, Davin Lal, who is our IT tech specialist extraordinaire and also an account executive, is going to talk about some other new guidance that came out this year about independent students and their eligibility for assisted housing. And then we're very pleased to have Mr. Jim Purley from Western America Properties giving a presentation on his company's successful implementation of the homeless preference in their property in Los Angeles. As you know, homelessness and addressing homelessness is a huge priority for the Secretary and for this administration. So we're really pleased to have a success story from one of our partners about how to implement the preference. And then really the bulk of the presentation then is going to be a long presentation from Jeff Jackson from our Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, who's going to walk everyone through the guidance that came out earlier this year on criminal background investigations. It's some pretty dense guidance, and I know it impacts all of you in how you do your business, so we're really fortunate to have Jeff come and give an overview and walk us through it. And then Bob Dutra, our very own Bob Dutra, who I know was here somewhere, is going to give his update on IT and information management and what's happening in the world of IT here in multifamily asset management. And then we'll have some time at the end for questions and closing remarks. Going the right way. There we go. So as I mentioned, the biggest thing that's been happening here in multifamily for the last 18 months or more is the multifamily transformation. And what that is, you've heard me talk about it before, many of you, so we'll go over it briefly. It's really a complete restructuring of how we do business in multifamily housing here at HUD across the entire country. There are really 4 components to it. So a shift from our old model of having project managers with mixed portfolios and asset management, we're moving towards a more streamlined, specialized model with 4 major components. The first is workload sharing. So we're sharing work within our region, between offices and between regions in a way we never did before, which allows us to put our resources and align them better with the workload as we need to. Second, we're changing the work model in both the production side of our business and the asset management side of our business. What this means is on the production side, we're going to a single underwriter model. So whereas in the past in production, you had many, many hands touching an FHA loan application, that's been streamlined now. Your application is processed end-to-end by a single underwriter in most cases with outreach to technical staff as necessary. Taking a similar approach on the asset management side, we're moving to an account executive and troubled specialist or resolution specialist model in asset management, which means the biggest change that you'll see is for the first time we actually have a team here in San Francisco of what we call resolution specialists, and these are technical staff in asset management that just handle complex transactions and what we call high touch or troubled assets. So what that does is it allows us to concentrate the really high intensity, high touch work with a specialized team that can just focus on addressing the needs of that particular property, and it frees up the time of our account executives to really focus on overall portfolio management and to be more proactive in terms of identifying trends early on and hopefully addressing issues before it escalates to the point where it becomes troubled. And then finally, there's a streamlined organizational structure. So as I said, this was a national restructuring. We actually changed the org charts across the entire country, and that includes headquarters. So it's a complete change in how we're structured in multifamily. Geographically, again, I'm sure many of you have seen this, we used to be very spread out. So when I came to HUD in 2010, before transformation, we had 17 hubs. That's how we were arranged in multifamily all across the country and with more than 50 offices. So we were very localized. We were very, sort of regionalized, and there were a lot of differences in how HUD offices did business across the country. I'm sure those of you that operate nationally or even across a region have noticed that there are a lot of differences in how different HUD offices process requests. So in order to address that, in the transformation, we went to five streamlined regions. So here in the West, we're the regional center based in San Francisco. We have a satellite office in Denver, and we actually increased our territory dramatically. So we expanded from the 4 states we were servicing prior to transformation to where we now service the 14 states, basically from the Rockies west and the entire western seaboard, including Alaska and Hawaii. So just the overall geographic composition post-transformation, you can see there's 5 regional centers. Each regional center has 1 or 2 satellite offices, so there's a total of 12 offices now, down from the 17 hubs we had before. The little difference in how things were handled in asset management and production. In production, they actually did consolidate all of their production operations in the regional center and the satellite office. So what that means in the West region is that if you're doing production work, all of our production transactions on the FHA loan side are happening either in San Francisco or in Denver. A little bit different on the asset management side. Asset management staff had the option to remain in place in some of the field offices. And as a result, you can see we have asset management staff in a number of offices around the country. So in the West region, that means we still are retaining staff in Honolulu, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. And in terms of how they report up, so the San Francisco office, we have Honolulu, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles reporting into us, so they're within our division. And then the Phoenix office in Arizona reports into Denver now. So here's a map. You can see we divided up our territory. I mentioned that we have these 14 states. The green states are territories that are serviced out of the Denver satellite office, and the blue states are serviced out of the San Francisco Regional Center, so here in San Francisco. There have been some changes to this map since as we started rolling out transformation, and the reasons for that really had to do with workload sharing and with our need and our ability now that we're a much larger region with much larger staffing counts to allocate the resources and the staff where it made the most sense to align it with the workload. So right now, out of the San Francisco regional office, we're servicing these 6 states, so Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, and all of California. That includes Northern and Southern California. Los Angeles now reports into us, and then as well as Alaska and Hawaii. And then the 8 states you see in green, including Washington, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and the Dakotas are serviced out of our satellite office in Denver. So you can see we got a lot bigger. I mentioned we went from 4 states to 14 states. By doing that and consolidating our workload and our assets, we massively increased just the volume of business we're doing out of asset management here in the West region. So whereas before out of this office we were servicing about 12 to 1,400 assets, you can see we're now servicing over 5,000. So that's 5,000 multifamily properties in our portfolio. We do an annual Section 8 subsidy contract amount of $1.8 billion. Our unpaid principal balance is around $14 billion, and we're dealing with about 360,000 units. So we're big. We got a lot bigger. That all happened this year. So as you can see, there have been a lot of changes here in asset management. And in order to support this much, much larger volume and territory, we have a new organizational structure. So we can send this out afterwards, and we actually have a complete org chart that shows all of our new staff with contact information, and we can post this online as well. But just to give you an overview of how the region is organized, Mr. Tom Azambrado, who was our hub director in San Francisco, is now our multifamily regional director, and I think he's here. He just came in. Hi, Tom. And so he's responsible for the entire region. So both the San Francisco Regional Center and the Denver Satellite Office report up to Tom here in San Francisco. And then we have the divisions down here. So you can see we have a production division headed by Angela Corcoran, who I think many of you know. She ran asset management here in San Francisco for a while. And she manages all the production staff in both San Francisco and Denver. So you can see her 3 production branches based here in San Francisco are in blue, and she has 2 production branches of staff based in Denver. They're in green. I'm Alexa Jeffress. I'm the asset management division director, and I'm currently permanent over one and acting over the second branch of asset management here in San Francisco. So I have 6 branch chiefs reporting into me. I think we've been really, really fortunate in our hiring this year. We've onboarded some terrific new branch chiefs, and we've been able to promote and retain some of our really talented staff that we're supervising previously. So of my 6 teams, 4 of them are made up of staff that are physically based here in San Francisco. We have Erin Ferguson, who's not here with us today, but she's a new branch chief that we hired from our PBCA in Los Angeles. Marie Maswi, who I mentioned, is our newest branch chief who just came on board, and she joined us from our field policy and management division. And then Ramona Mitchell is another new branch chief, and she joined us from Rural Development, USDA, in Oregon State. So we're really, really fortunate to have these 3 branch chiefs. They supervise all staff here located here in San Francisco, and there's a geographic distribution between the teams. So right now, Ramona's team services properties in Oregon and Idaho, and Erin and Marie's team service properties in Northern California, Alaska, and some Idaho. Right, Ramona? Yeah. Okay. It's changing all the time. And then Gwen Kelleher, who I think many of you know too, who's over in the corner, is our resolution branch chief. So she runs that specialized technical branch I told you about that just addresses our complex transactions and our troubled or our high-touch assets. And then we also have 2 branches composed of staff out in the field, or what we're now calling the asset management servicing offices. And Sylvia Cuellar is currently permanent over one of those branches and acting over the other one. So Sylvia has a big job with lots of travel, and she supervises our staff in Los Angeles, Honolulu, and Las Vegas. So that's how asset management looks right now in the West region. And then you can see over in our Denver side, Marcy Laporte, who was the hub director, is now the asset management division director, although Marcy is retiring this Friday, tomorrow. So there will be an acting asset management division director in place until we can get someone permanent. But she has 4 branches of asset management staff in the Denver Satellite Office, which is 3 account executive branches and 1 resolution team. So I know there's been a lot of questions and a lot happening this year in the world of HUD multifamily transformation. So I wanted to just walk everybody through a quick timeline to give you an update of where we are. So really, transformation for us in the West started way back at the end of last year. Oh, that should say December 2015. Sorry. December, we're not in the future, we're in the past. December 2015 is actually when we sort of unofficially kicked off transformation in the West region. At that time, the Seattle hub, what was the former Seattle hub, or Region 10 for multifamily, actually started shifting their assets to a contractor, a third-party contractor called Alpine that handled asset servicing while we were going through the transformation. So that started way back in December of 2015 when Washington and Oregon assets started being serviced by the Alpine contractor. In January 2016, the Seattle hub officially shut down, and all of those assets and the remaining staff and all the asset management and production responsibilities transferred to our San Francisco office here in San Francisco. So that's when we took on the entire Pacific Northwest and that entire portfolio and workload. Then around May or June of this year, the Alpine contractor, who I think many of you have probably worked with, started servicing our assets here in our San Francisco office. So that was when, if you had assets in Northern California, Los Angeles, Honolulu, Alaska, Idaho, any of the states we service, those started being serviced by our Alpine contractor. Not all of them, but most of them started being serviced at that time. In June, we had our official kickoff for the multifamily transformation, and what that meant is we had a lot of retirements because buyouts were part of the transformation process. We onboarded a lot of new staff, and we entered this intensive 8-week training period that lasted the entire summer. So June through August, that's what we were doing. We had our assets serviced by the Alpine contractor, and we had all of our staff throughout the entire region in training, intense training, like Monday through Friday training. In September 2016, so just last month, that all wrapped up. We officially kicked off our new existence as the West region and multifamily, and that was the official end of transformation. But of course, as you know, these things never are as simple and as you think they're going to be, and they never end. So we're actually still very much in the process of implementing and rolling out these changes. And we're actually still hiring. So even though we've onboarded a bunch of wonderful new staff, and I'll run through some of the new faces in a minute, we actually have a lot of positions posted too. So transformation is still ongoing, even though we've officially kicked off as the new West region. And then the other big change is this month, the Alpine contract ends. So for those of you who've had assets serviced by Alpine, that's coming to a close now. We actually transitioned back all of the Alpine assets that they were servicing a few weeks ago in San Francisco. Denver's in the process of wrapping it up. And our entire portfolio, that 5,000 plus asset portfolio I showed you a minute ago, is now back to being entirely serviced by HUD staff here in San Francisco. So what does that mean? It means it was a big change. We had a lot of things shifted back. I know there were a lot of changes, I think, for an industry and kind of us as an organization that's used to having maybe one project manager servicing a single property for 10, 20 years. This is a big change. So I think we've seen more change, more shifting, more property reassignment in the last 6 months than we've seen in years. So it's a big change, but I think we're at the point now where we're stabilizing. The portfolios are back. There still will be some movement, and I think with the new risk-based model, there will continue to be more movement than we've seen in the past. Because with the new model, the structure and the expectation is that assets are constantly being assessed and ranked and rated using these indicators that we have to assess risk. And if it's determined that a property needs to be handled by a specialized team because it's developed some attributes that make it higher touch or higher need, then it could be transferred. So we're sort of moving out of the era of one project manager, one property, and that's the way it's going to be for years and years and years. We're just going to see more movement as we move into the new model. So before I jump into policy, I want to just talk about some of our new staff. So in addition to the branch chiefs that I mentioned, like I said, we have 5 in place. We actually have 1 advertisement out for a branch chief now. It's open now. So if anyone wants to join the federal government, or if anyone knows anyone who'd be a good candidate, I encourage you to go to usajobs.gov. That's where you can submit an application. So those are our branch chiefs. But then on the frontline staff, we were really, really fortunate to have a lot of internal promotions of some really terrific staff. Some of them are here, not everybody's here. I'm just going to run through the names. I won't make everybody come up, because it's awkward to get in front of the camera. But on the resolution team, we were able to promote Julie Eklund, June Park, and Paul Williams, who were promoted from being project managers to members of our resolution team. In addition, Robin Thompson, John Tedesco, and Angela Morrison were promoted to become senior account executives. So we're really, really fortunate to get to retain those really talented staff. And also Janice Morris, who's been with us a long time, who was a program assistant, received a promotion and became an account executive. So in addition to the internal promotions, we have a lot of new staff. On the resolution team, Annalisa Bascom, who's sitting right there, joined us as a resolution specialist, and she also came from one of our PBCAs. Rayanne Abraham, who I don't think is here, came from property management, but she's an account executive. Venus James, who I see right here, is another new account executive on our teams. Also Michael Pope, one of our new account executives, Maya Stevens, next to Michael, and Sophia Chen. Sophia here? I thought I saw Sophia, maybe not. So yeah, as you can see, we've been able to hire some really terrific staff, and we're still hiring. So we actually have a position posted for account executives right now on usajobs.gov. So I encourage you, if you know any good people or you're interested, to check it out. Finally, Amanda Kochak, who you're going to be hearing from later, is a program analyst working directly with me in asset management. So yeah, so we're hiring branch chiefs, we're hiring account executives. We have positions posted for program assistants as well. So we're still hiring, we're still growing. We expect that we'll be onboarding staff and we'll be continuing to grow for the next few months. And then just very quickly, I want to talk about some policy priorities before I hand it over to staff to go into more detail. So these are the fiscal year 16 policy priorities. The DAS puts them out every year. So these are the ones from last year, but a lot of these are still continuing to be important in the new fiscal year, and I anticipate they'll be carried over. So you're going to be hearing about a lot of these. Two things I wanted to highlight really quickly before I hand it off that we're not going to be doing a deep dive on is there was a new rule published this month on 2530 previous participation. This is huge. It's been a long time coming. The proposed rule came out earlier this year, and it was out for comments, and the final rule is now posted. So it's available here. There's a link, so you can go read it yourself, and we'll send this out after the presentation. But it's really a big change. I think we've gotten a lot of feedback from the industry about 2530 previous participation. It's something everyone who does business with multifamily has to deal with. And they've gotten a lot of feedback about the need to simplify the process. So this is their response to that. And it's really an effort to clarify and streamline the process. So there's a notice that came out. It's 2016-15. There's a link here. You can actually go read the actual rule. And then this is effective November 14th. So I just wanted to put that on everyone's radar because that's a big change that affects everybody. The next thing is 4350.1. Another thing that's been a long, long time coming. The original 4350.1 handbook, I think, is from 1992. And I think that might be the last time it was revised. Yeah, it's crazy. They've been revising it the entire time I've been at HUD. But they actually released 5 chapters this month. So this is huge. This is progress. And it's really neat because I think it shows how multifamily post-transformation is taking a more streamlined technological approach to these types of issues. So they've actually released the first 5 chapters here: physical conditions, budget-based rent adjustments, releases and satisfactions, civil rights enforcement, and Section 8 pass-through leases. Those have been posted to something called the Multifamily Policy Drafting Table. And what that is it's a website. It's open to the public. The link is here. And you can actually go to that website, see the chapters that have been posted for comment, and there's a worksheet you can fill out. And you can fill out the worksheet, input your comments, and then email it to mfhdraftingtable@hud.gov. And that's how you provide public comments. So it's pretty cool. It's a little bit more forward-thinking. We're actually posting stuff online now, and they're going to be accepting feedback for 30 days. So I encourage you to check it out. So you can see these are some pretty relevant topics that affect how everyone does business. So it's a big change. And so I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to hand it over to Marie Maswi, our branch chief, who's going to talk about communication protocols. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. As Alexa mentioned, I'm going to be talking about some of our communication protocols. As part of our transformation, you know that we've kind of moved away from submitting paper requests and moved toward electronic requests. And we really did that in an effort to simplify the process, to make it more convenient for all of you, and hopefully simpler. And we appreciate you working with us on that. We're also trying to provide better customer service so that we can track your requests and really have a more consistent way that we work with you across the West region. And I know a lot of you work with properties perhaps in different states or in different locations, so it's great, I think, to have that consistency. And we're glad that we're able to make that change. As we continue to transition, and as we said, we're complete with our transformation, but we're continuing to improve. So one of the things that we're going to do is right now you're submitting to the state inbox at any time you have a question. We're going to actually move to 2 inboxes, one for the Denver and one for the San Francisco office, just to further simplify things. And we will let you know as we roll that out. In the meantime, you'll continue to use those state inboxes. And If you have any questions, as we said, the Alpine has been phased out, as Alexa discussed. Now all of the projects are with a particular account executive, AE. It's no longer project manager. And so if you want to look up who your project manager is, you can go to the website. You'll receive this PowerPoint after our discussion today, so you can feel free to look up your account executive through that portal and then click on the letter of the that your property starts with, and you will be taken to another page that shows exactly who the email address and contact information for your account executive. We still request that you submit all of your requests through the state inbox. But we want to make sure that you know who you'll be working with, who you should be expecting a response through. If you have questions, we have a current escalation path. We're planning on also making some changes to that, but you should be receiving that in the coming weeks or days. Am I forgetting anything? I think that's pretty much all I had to say. Do you guys have any questions?
Just a reminder not to duplicate, to be safe.
Exactly.
Don't send it to the multifamily site and the account executive.
Exactly. So for folks who are online, the reminder was make sure that you're just submitting your requests electronically one time. Do not send it to a state mailbox and then resend it to your account executive. This really is just helping us streamline, and we have a process that we're working with internally. We're also working to kind of change the way we're doing our workload management internally so that there'll be increased consistency across the West region as well. If there aren't any other questions, I'm going to pass it. Oh, go ahead. Yes?
Has this been updated? The assignments been updated?
The assignments have been updated. There may still be a few that say Alpine.
Yes.
That should be changing in the very near future, but we have been updated internally. I don't think all of the updates have been made onto the website quite yet. So if you see Alpine, that's why. You can always send us an inquiry to us directly, one of the branch chiefs or Alexa, and we can help you figure out who your account executive is. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Ramona Mitchell, who's going to talk about the MORs.
Thank you, Marie, and good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming and attending one of our first few industry forums. And let me just, forgive me for technology. I'm going to play with this a little bit. So as Alexa mentioned earlier, I'm going to give you a brief update on where we are with the management occupancy reviews. Okay. And where we are this year. As you know, that we have taken a slight break from the reviews in the recent past, but in April of this year, HUD did approve the fiscal year 16 work plans for the project-based contract administrators to begin reviews. So I'll be providing the update for those reviews that have been started by the PBCAs, but it will not include any of the reviews that HUD does directly or any of the housing finance agencies. So the numbers will be a little low. So in the San Francisco Regional Center, we had 511 MORs approved for fiscal year 16. As of a couple weeks ago, 391 of those have been completed. So we have over a 75% completion rate at this time. And here we go, just a little depiction of that. So this includes Hawaii, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, and both Southern and Northern California. So of those 391, 307 received the final scores. 58 received a score of satisfactory, 6% received a superior score, and 4% were unsatisfactory. So we're looking really good in that area. And we did request some input from the PBCAs, and they were kind enough to share with us some of the feedback that they have gotten from the owners and agents while they're out there doing reviews, and it's actually very positive. So I put up here just a little splash of what some of those comments were.
And some of them were included missing the interactions with the PDCA. So the owners and agents really appreciate that contact and the ability and the time to talk with them, find out information about their properties, and talk about maybe new regulations and other things that are going on. They also, even though they were very nervous regarding those MROs coming up, as everyone doesn't like to see anyone come and be under scrutiny, they were very, very pleased of the updates that they received. They were grateful for the assessments that they received, and they were very happy to have areas of focus identified for them of their properties as they move forward and make their plans for the upcoming years ahead. So it was a very brief update, and I want to thank everyone. Please keep your eye out for the 2017 request for work plans. We're hoping to see it very soon. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Paul Williams, our resolution specialist, to talk about the utility benchmarking. And you can.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here to talk about utility benchmarking and, of course, portfolio manager. For the past year, HUD's encouraged everyone to, all owners and agents, to voluntarily use EPA portfolio manager. Various degrees of success, some better than others. And you're using that to track energy consumption and costs and things of that nature. But in 2017, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to see an increased effort in this area. A Federal Registry notice was recently published on October 5th regarding HUD's intent to impose mandatory benchmarking requirements. We told you this day was coming, and we've urged you guys to get ahead of the curve and prepare yourselves where that day is upon us and fast approaching. As I said, the notice was issued October 5th, and it's going to allow 60 days for public comments. So around December 5th, the public comment period will cease to exist. And from that point, it'll take several months before requirements are finalized. And I know I'm not technically savvy here. There you go. Thank you. That's why we have Davin over there. I'm called a computer killer for a reason. Again, the notice was issued October 5th, and it allows 60 days. And from that point, it's going to take several months to finalize and implement the requirements. During that time, we encourage everyone to participate in the public comment period. Make your thoughts known. If you have any issues or questions regarding the process, let it be known. If you don't say anything now and it's implemented without your thoughts, it's like voting. If you don't vote and your candidate of choice isn't elected, I mean, how much complaining can you do? So we urge you to participate now and get your comments included. Certain providers of HUD-assisted housing will be required to report information on energy and water consumption. Remember that only benchmarking scores calculated through the Portfolio Manager platform will be accepted by HUD. There's a myriad of other platforms available, but HUD, at this time anyway, is only going to accept Portfolio Manager calculations. So again, during the comment period, it's your chance to, put your 2 cents in and let them know, hey, I have a thought on who we also should include. But right now, it's only Portfolio Manager. Certain types of projects are going to be required. There are 202 and 811 PRACs, all PACs, SPRACs, anything with AC in it is going to be required. Section 8 with HAP contracts and various other FAA-insured projects are going to be required to enter and share data on energy consumption and costs. I guess the premise behind this is you can't manage what you don't measure. And so if you don't know what you have, you don't know where your costs are allocated to correctly, and it's strongly advised that you do participate in this. A note of caution: until the requirements are implemented, it will remain a voluntary program. Until you're voluntold, it'll be voluntary. It's going to happen, so we want you guys to get ahead of the curve as much as you can. Did I just change that right? Very good. Again, it would be wise to get ahead of the curve, start the process now. Certain reporting requirements are going to follow this general schedule. HUD-assisted projects with utility allowance are going to be required to report at your triennial utility analysis baseline calculation. HUD-assisted projects without a utility allowance every third year when you're submitting your annual financial statements. If you have any questions about the methodology for completing a utility analysis, there's a notice that came out in 2015. It is H 2015-04. I strongly encourage you to read that notice and bring yourself up to speed on the triennial baseline calculations. And also, certain transactions will require entering data into Portfolio Manager. I don't have those memorized, so I would suggest you refer to the registry notice, and it'll tell you which transactions will be part of the requirement. HUD would like this effort for everyone to be effortless and seamless as possible, and we're going to provide assistance through a dedicated website for owners and agents to utilize to help them out in the process. So we're going to let you know what that website is as soon as it's implemented. But if you have any questions, you can always contact me, and I'll, if I don't know the answer, I'll find out for you and get it to you. Also, only projects, and this is a good thing, only projects that are 12 months or older with at least 21 units in the project are going to be required to report data. So it's not as daunting a task as you think. So if your project is less than a year old or less than 21 units, it's still going to be voluntary. You know, you should probably enter your data for all your projects anyway, but if you don't have that benchmark, then certainly it'll just be voluntary. Until later on when you're voluntold to add more, so you might want to include those as well. For those that don't know already, Portfolio Manager is a free, secure online resource provided by the EPA and Energy Star to track energy and water cost and consumption. Am I a little hurt? There we go. All you need to do, how many of you, by the way, show of hand, have enlisted your projects in the Portfolio Manager tool? A handful. Okay, thank you. The rest of you will be doing so soon, I assume? All you need to do is enter your building data one time to create the baseline, and then as you get your monthly bills, it's going to include the bill, and it's going to include your consumption rate, and then from that point forward, it'll be showing your trends. By the way, some utility companies do this automatically for you. I'm not sure which ones do or don't, but it's a service your utility company may already provide, uploading it automatically into Portfolio Manager. So check that out. It might be a fee involved, but you want to save on staff allocation and things of that nature. It might behoove you to check out and see who can do that. By using Portfolio Manager, you can compare data with other projects in your portfolio, as well as other projects in your local area, keeping track on who your neighbors are and what they're spending versus what you're doing goes a long way. Portfolio Manager scores are generated between 1 to 100 to see how your project stacks up, and quite frankly, for HUD to see how your project's stacking up. So Big Brother might not be there, but we are watching. And so definitely the scores that are lower on that scale means you're not doing so well. And there are some opportunities for you for financing. If you're, I think it's 60 or less, there's some special financing available to you. And if you need information, again, contact me and I'll try to get that for you. All right. Some of you may already use other benchmarking tools besides Portfolio Manager. We're aware of that. We don't like the fact, but we're aware of it. There are some pretty useful ones out there. I know of a few, WegoWise being one of the main ones. Most are for a fee. You know, Portfolio Manager is free. The other ones have a fee. So free, fee, pretty simple choice. By the way, Portfolio Manager is the only one that is HUD's platform of choice at this time. Again, the comment period, if you want to include something else you think is more useful, this is the time to do it. Get your thoughts known. We realize re-entering data a second time if you're already using another platform can be cumbersome, staff time, and it can be tough for some owners and agents. Some benchmarking tools, again, WeGoWise and others, they have the ability to migrate your data for you from their platform into Portfolio Manager. Very useful. Again, there might be a slight fee involved, but if HUD's not going to accept their data, you might want to take advantage of their possibility of their platform uploading it into Portfolio Manager. Basically, it's just a click of a mouse. It's not that hard. Even I could do that. So let's see. If you use other platforms such as WeGoWise and you want to learn how to migrate your data into Portfolio Manager, there is a tool that I've been given recently, and just email me, let me know, and I'll forward that to you. It's pretty easy, as I said. And basically, that's it on benchmarking and the Portfolio Manager. Most of you have heard about Portfolio Manager for the last year or so. You've gotten our email blasts. If you've talked to me on the phone, I harp on it incessantly. So I urge you during this time to get ahead of the curve, start putting your projects in, because once we flip the switch and you haven't done anything, it's just going to take a long time to catch up. So a little bit at a time, and by the time that flip is switched, you'll certainly be ahead of the game. I know that's a lot to handle in just a short period of time. I was only given a few minutes, but if you have any questions or concerns or comments, look me up. Let's talk about what your questions or concerns are and see if we can't get to a solution for you. Okay? Well, that's all I got. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Amanda Kochek. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you all for coming today. Let's make sure I know how to use this. Okay. Today I'll be speaking to you all about a new program called the Multifamily Family Self-Sufficiency Program. This program was just introduced. The notice came out on August 26th, and I've got a link right here for you to view the notice. So, what is family self-sufficiency? FSS is a HUD program that provides both incentives and support to families residing in multifamily assisted housing, with the goal to increase their earned income and therefore reducing their dependency on public assistance programs. This program can be implemented at any privately owned multifamily property that receives project-based Section 8 subsidy through a HAP contract with HUD. This program is completely voluntary. Multifamily owners can voluntarily establish and operate an FSS program at their site. Participation in the program is also completely voluntary for families and participants residing in these properties. We do encourage owners to secure commitments of public and private resources and develop appropriate program services. Such services could be childcare, transportation, education, job training, etc. So how does this program actually work? Owners and participants will execute a contract with goals, and they'll work together to create these goals to be met within a 5-year period. And I believe there's a 2-year period in case there needs to be an extension. There's always certain circumstances. If a family's earned income and rental payment increase while participating in FSS, the owner will credit the incremental rent due to the increase in earned income to the family's escrow account. And upon successful completion of the 5-year contract, the participant is entitled to those escrow funds. And hopefully the participant can utilize those escrowed funds for something really important to them, such as they can put it to a down payment on a house or utilize it for furthering their education, whatever's important to them. And I just want to get into a little bit more details, such as the use of residual receipts. Congress has not approved direct funding for this program yet, for the employment of an FSS coordinator, which would probably be needed for this program. However, the owners are allowed to use available residual receipts to support the position for the coordinator. And because of that, owners are exempt from the requirement to use residual receipts to offset the Section 8 payments. This program is of no cost to the owner. The FSS escrow account is not funded by the owner. The money is offset by additional HAP. And this program is new to multifamily housing, but it's not new to HUD. This program has been operating in the Office of Public and Indian Housing for residents in public housing and that utilize housing choice vouchers for over 20 years. So this program has had success with PIH, and we're really excited to have it with multifamily now. We encourage you all to take a look at the notice. This presentation was very basic. The notice has a lot more detail, and it details the methodology for implementing the program. So we encourage you all to look at the notice, and we're really excited about it. And I know we are all available to answer questions, and all of the AEs are excited and can help you implement this program. Okay, does anyone have any questions about the program? No? Okay. Well, maybe once you all get a chance to take a look at the notice, feel free to email me or call me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Okay. Now I will hand it off to Davin Law. They'll be.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just here to talk about some new guidance in regards to the way a student is defined when actually applying for assisted housing. So we're clarifying the definition of an independent student. It has broadened the definition for those that have lived in foster care or that were awarded the court at age 13. Previously, the definition had been 18, and it didn't include those that were in foster care. The new independent student definition also adds those students who are emancipated in legal guardianship and or unaccompanied youth who are homeless or at risk of being homeless. And HUD will also clarify what documents are needed to support vulnerable youth populations that are independent of his or her parents, where the income of his parents is not relevant. Vulnerable populations include unaccompanied homeless youth, youth at risk of being homeless, and those have been underage and out of foster care. This clarification will indicate that vulnerable youth populations do not have to provide documentation that they are a student and they're not claimed by a dependent or a parental parent or legal guardian for IRS purposes. For more information, this PowerPoint will be going out via email. So to read more on this notice, I encourage you all to click on this link to read about the guidance in this notice. Any questions? Thank you. And I would like to introduce Alexis Jeffress to come on stage again.
Okay, thank you, Davin. So yeah, as I mentioned before, it's now my tremendous pleasure to introduce Jim Perley, who's the president, I didn't bring my card, Western America Properties, is that right? President of Western America Properties, who's going to be talking about how he's successfully implemented our homeless preference at one of his properties in LA. So please join me in welcoming Jim. Do you want to do the ticker yourself?
Maybe have you do it. Good morning.
You can tell me next slide.
All right. Yeah, my name is Jim Perley. I'm president of Western America Properties, and we're headquartered in Southern California. We own and manage approximately 2,100 apartment units in California and Las Vegas, including project-based Section 8 properties in Fresno and in Sacramento. We've been working with John Tedesco for years on the Californian in Fresno. John was aware that we've implemented the homeless preference approximately 18 months ago in Los Angeles County. We started in Los Angeles because it has the biggest concentration of both homeless and homeless veterans nationally. But you have the same issues up here, and what we have done will apply anywhere. In order to get this to work for you and serve the homeless population, my sense is that you have to go through the following personal steps. The first step you need to do is decide that you want to do it. After you do that, then you have to figure out how you can do it without hurting your overall operation. After all, if you can't get it to work, nobody wins. And what's the point of falling on your sword? It doesn't help anybody. The third thing you have to figure out is how to get related parties to buy into your concept. And the fourth thing is really you have to reach out for help. And this is what we did. We decided to use the preference to specialize in homeless veterans for a couple of reasons. We were asked to do it by the Los Angeles HUD office first, and secondly, because I'm a Vietnam veteran and have affinity with veterans, as well as some personal experience with PTSD myself. I have a short slide presentation I will show you today. When we put ours together, it became obvious to us that there was a great benefit in putting together a presentation that other owners could also use. The slides are a summary of that effort. The important thing to know is that when you raise your hand, you'll get plenty of help from HUD, from nonprofits, and you won't have to invent or reinvent the wheel. People will hand you the wheel. Anyway, let me go over the slide, if I can get this thing to work, and show how this thing has worked for us. Again, our focus was on veterans, but this will work with veterans and non-veterans alike. And here's what it looked like for us. When we started this, we have 1,400 Section 8 units, and you can only use the homeless preference for vacancies. So we can only do so much. But when you look at the amount of project-based Section 8, this refers to Southern California. There's plenty throughout the region. And so there's an opportunity to use this for the homeless preference. One of the big advantages of it, it's already funded by HUD. You don't need an additional voucher. You don't need to go get the funding. All you have to do is figure out how to use the vacancy, use this a vacancy opportunity for homeless. Okay, can you? Thanks. Here are the challenges. The first thing you have to do is revise your resident selection plan. You've got the waiting list. It's very specific and it requires complete following with the rules, with the existing rules. The HUD directive gives you the opportunity to change the resident selection plan to give vacancy a priority to homeless veterans. In our particular situation, I'm a veteran myself. I'm comfortable with veterans. We're just people like anybody else you've grown up with who decided to serve. But people have seen the movies and heard horror stories, and they're worried about Rambo-type veterans, and there's some concern about that. Your managers and us as a management company, our first fear was, hey, we can't. We're both tax credit and project-based Section 8. If we lose control of our property and lose control of the management, it's going to hurt us. The other thing is that your managers will be nervous because your managers obviously want to do a good job, and so they have fear. So that was another challenge for us. Thanks. The other thing I realized personally, and it's, I think it's pretty obvious, is that, yeah, we can fill these units, but then what? I mean, PTSD is not something we know how to deal with, and these veterans and other homeless people need a lot more than a roof over their heads. We don't know how to do that or who to ask. Well, we didn't have to do it on our own, because when we stepped up, we were given a nonprofit to find us a nonprofit who provided services, who can provide veterans, and arrange us to meet at the highest level of these nonprofits so we could talk to them. And we ended up picking Volunteers of America, who had a lot of experience in this area, and I'm sure you have as good or better up here, either in San Francisco or wherever your property is. And as far as judging the nonprofit's competence, you can tell a lot by interviewing and looking at their sites. And then we talked to HUD, we talked to other people about reputation, so that was not that hard to do. Okay, Lex, thanks. As far as the resident selection goes, as far as the procedures on this, we worked in developing a resident selection plan for owners. HUD has taken our ideas and other owners' ideas and really run with it nationally. There's cookie cutter resident selection plans that you can be handed to that are, so you don't have to go through the process. And the other thing that after talking about it, we realized that even if we wanted to fall on our sword a little, because I have a personal interest in helping veterans, it doesn't. Who is really going to do that, and how can you spread this if you're taking more risk? And so the way we solve that one is that the resident selection plan, as far as resident qualifications, there is no difference. In other words, a homeless or a veteran has to satisfy the same criteria. So when you do that, a couple of things. Number one, you decrease your risk, and number two, then the managers are comfortable. And as far as having a MOU, which is, as you know, memorandum of understanding between owners and nonprofit service providers, we've got cookie cutters. HUD is probably better than we do on that too. So that can basically be handed to you. Again, we found a nonprofit who was a fabulous service provider. They know their veterans. They have them in these shelters, and they've already interviewed them. They can pre-screen them for you, and they also provide services. And they have a budget for that, so we don't have to come out of pocket at all. And when the managers realized that we're not taking additional risk, they really got excited about this program because they have families or cousins or friends that are veterans, and it really has motivated them in a way that has been exhilarating and really not that surprising, but it's something we love to do. Okay, in summary, why get involved? Before I go over the slide, first I have to tell you that we've been in this industry for 16 years in project-based Section 8 ownership, management, and tax credit, and nothing that I have done or we have done has been more rewarding than this. As far as looking in the mirror and making a difference, it's great stuff. But let's go over the technical issues. Again, it's revenue neutral. Extra point scoring with TCAC. There's nothing wrong with having HUD on your side. And we would do it anyway, but it's a nice perk. Again, no additional management risk. You can find a nonprofit to help you with the veterans and the screening and the services. Again, you don't have to take any additional risk on your screening. The paperwork part, again, the resident selection plan model. The HUD has models. We have models. It's easy. You just have to ask somebody for that. One of the things we thought about too is if you have a family building and you have a veteran or a homeless person that comes on site, he turns his life around, he gets back on his feet and maybe leaves. That's a good role model for the children in that complex and everybody in that complex to see. And so we think that's a big deal, and when that happens, we're excited about it. And in my case, I served in the military to make a difference, and it's another chance. But you're serving even if you don't work with veterans. This homeless issue is a national issue, and if we all do our part, it's how much can we do with our units? But if you look around this room and look around the HUD population, if we can figure out how to do this, get owners and managers to realize there's less risk and institutionalize it when veterans or other homeless come available, we'll have a system. And it won't be, and there's a way to continue to eat into that population when it hits. The bottom line again is if you commit to this and figure out how to do it without putting your property at risk, which you can do, then help is available from nonprofits, from HUD. People are standing by to help. You'll be swimming downstream. And what I'd finally like to do is read a couple of testimonials. One is from one of our property managers whose English is their second language, and the other one is from our nonprofit service provider. And if you don't mind, I'll read these. I just wanted to let you know Unit 110 at Doherty is rented. Let me share this with every one of you. When they signed all the paperwork, they seemed calm, but when we went into the unit, my Lord, she started to cry, and the two girls were jumping so happy and said, "Oh my God, we have a room, kitchen, and bathroom." Mom, she continued crying. She gave me a big hug. He was in the hallway crying too. So I asked him, "Are you happy with your apartment?" And he looked at me with a big smile and told me, "You don't have any idea I am to live." "Thank you," I told him. I told him, and give thanks. He deserves it. He told me, "Okay, you tell him thank you very much." Jim, from them, thank you. Thank you. Everyone. Have a great weekend. And I have another one from our nonprofit service provider. Doug is a veteran who's been at Pathways approximately 4 times in his last 2 years. Doug has severe PTSD and consistently leaves the shelter when it becomes overwhelming for him. Doug even has difficulty looking you in the eyes, as he always looks around at the floor due to his condition. He's applied for VASH housing even though through the VA, but does not follow through once the process is started, as it becomes overwhelming for him. When I discussed going to La Brea Gardens Apartments, he was reluctant at first. I explained to him that we would work very closely with the staff at La Brea Gardens and would walk him through all the steps to get him housed. Doug agreed. Doug had already contacted the VA and was working on applying for VASH. Within a week, Doug had an appointment with Veronica from La Brea Gardens. We had completed the application with him and sent all of the documents needed. After Doug met with Veronica, he was able to go through the background check and complete his verification. Within 2 weeks, he was shown an apartment and was able to sign the lease. Doug had no income as he was not eligible for general relief, but he was still able to sign his lease and move into his apartment by the end of the month. Although he had no furniture, no food, no household items, he was thrilled at the thought of moving into his own place. Case management meant to take Doug food, hygiene products, a slow cooker, and towels. Doug was so excited and thankful for these items. Within a week, case management began receiving calls at all hours of the night, sounding nervous and anxious, saying he could not live there because it's too loud. Both case manager and supervisor phoned and spoke with Doug. And after many phone calls, many mediations, Doug was able to calm down and remain until another unit could be found to move him into. Once Doug spoke with Veronica, housing manager, who assured Doug he was safe and he would we moved to another unit, he became calm and able to maintain his housing. Both Mindy and Veronica from La Brea Gardens went above and beyond in taking care of Doug. Their thoughtfulness and compassion allowed Doug to stay in his home after being in the streets for 4 years. You have an opportunity to do this kind of work. Yeah, we all do. So thank you.
Wow, so thank you, Jim. Really, I think it's so powerful to hear that. You know, as we mentioned before, the homeless preference and homelessness in general, and particularly veterans homelessness, is just such a huge priority for this administration, for the secretary, and for us at HUD. I mean, I think it really, as Jim said, it's such an opportunity to really see the impact of the work that we all do. So I really encourage you to consider it, and it's so wonderful and powerful to hear an actual example of how it can be successfully done. And on the back of the agenda that you all got, there's some information and some links that show you a link to our homeless preference notice, which outlines the details of implementing a preference. And there's also a link to a homeless preference toolkit that came out earlier this year that actually has some great tips and advice and resources for how to do this at your own property. So I hope you'll all consider it. And now I'm going to introduce Jeff Jackson, who's very graciously offered to come speak with us from Fair Housing about criminal background investigation guidance that came out this year. So thank you, Jeff.
Well, Amanda, I don't clap yet, but I haven't said anything. Amanda, you tricked me. I thought there were only yeah, that would help me. Or maybe, whatever. You told me there were only going to be 37 people here, and I count at least 70, so thank all of you for coming. And Jim, what a wonderful presentation, and I wish I didn't have to follow you because I don't have anything so wonderful to talk about. But I wanted to say this. As I work in HUD's Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, our office has two halves. We have a half called enforcement, and that's the half that if someone files a housing discrimination complaint, we have investigators who try to either investigate it or resolve the complaints. I think of them as the bad cops. I work on the other side of the office. It's called program compliance, and I'm really bright. The program compliance, our responsibility is to work with recipients of federal funding to make sure that you comply with fair housing laws. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, is about guidance that was recently issued by our general counsel regarding use of criminal background histories on it a little bit. But I wanted to give you a short course on fair housing before I do that. If I ask you how many of you think discrimination is illegal, how many of you think no? How many of you think no? How many of you think it was a trick question? It was a trick question. It really was. Because if I decide to drink Coke in the morning or coffee as opposed to Pepsi or tea, that's discrimination, right? But the truth of the matter is that's not illegal yet. I don't know what will happen after November 8th. But moving on with that, the federal law recognizes 7 protected classes, and discrimination is illegal only if it's against somebody in one of those 7 protected classes. And I think you'll probably all know them already, but they're race, color, religion, sex, national origin, people with children, and people with disabilities. So a landlord who treats any of those people differently is said to be violating the fair housing law. Most of the complaints that are, we think of overt forms of discrimination, where a landlord says to somebody with children, I'm sorry, I can't rent you that apartment because it's upstairs and the kids would make too much noise. That's an overt form of discrimination. Another form of discrimination, a second theory that the courts have recognized, is something called differential terms or conditions. It's where you treat somebody in a protected class differently than you treat somebody else. For instance, delaying the maintenance response of people who are Hispanic because you think that you can report to them INS or something if they complain about it, that would be an example of differential terms or conditions. Or telling somebody who uses a motorized wheelchair that they have to have a liability policy to indemnify the property, that would be an example of differential term or condition. We don't see many of those types of complaints in California, but what we do see here is something called disparate impact. And disparate impact is defined as a facially neutral rule that nevertheless, even without any intent to discriminate, results in limiting participation by somebody in a protected class. And some examples of that, for instance, would be having a numerical occupancy policy. A landlord who says no more than 1 person per bedroom could violate the fair housing laws. Anybody know why that might be the case? If you limit, probably nobody has that policy here in this room. So let's say, well, if saying no more than 1 person a bedroom, statistically that would affect families with children. Groups of 3 or more people living together, 80% of the time there's a child involved there. Only 20% of the time are they all adults. So that policy, even though it's neutral, it would apply to people with children or without. Just anybody living in more than 2 people proposing to live in a bedroom. It would play out as discriminating against families with children. Another example of that is, for instance, refusing or not building accessible housing. If you're required to have accessible housing units in your complex because it was built after 1991 and you don't, then you may not have intended to exclude people who are mobility impaired, but that would be the effect of it. I wanted to give you all that background because what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit today is criminal background history. And let's see if I can work this thing. You know what, Davin? It would be better if you did, maybe. Thank you. it'll become inoperative within seconds of the time I start using it. What I wanted to use is posted this fact sheet. So you notice that one of the protected classes I didn't mention was people with criminal background histories, right? What's the reason why we might not want to rent to criminals? Duh. All right. Here's the problem. People with criminal background histories are not spread evenly across all racial and ethnic groups. And I wanted to read you some facts here. These are ones that come out of HUD's guidelines on it. I wanted to read you some facts from the NAACP's facts sheet. Between 1980 and 2008, the number of people incarcerated in America quadrupled. It went from about 500,000 people nationwide to 2.3 million people. U.S. population, U.S., the number of citizens in the United States, 300 million people, we're about 5% of the world's population. But within the United States, we have 25% of the world's prisoners here in this country. Now, moving on a little bit on that. Combining the number of people in prison and jail and those under parole or probation or court or supervision, 1 in every 32 adults has some form of criminal background history on it. Now moving into the disparate impact part of this. Blacks or African Americans now constitute 1 million of the 2.3 million people in prison, 58%. African Americans are nearly six times as likely to be incarcerated as white people. Together, I'll give you a wrong statistic there in a minute. Together, African Americans and Hispanics comprise 58% of all the people in prison right now. So I could go on and on about that. I could talk to you about the number of juvenile arrests and how African Americans and blacks are much more likely to be arrested for things that whites aren't. We all see this. It plays out on the television every night. 5 times as many whites are using drugs as African Americans, yet African Americans are sent to prison for drug offenses at 10 times the rates of whites. African Americans are 12% of the population among drug users, but 38% of those arrested for drug abuse. It just goes on and on and on this stuff. This is the reason why we're concerned about use of criminal background checks. And what I don't want to tell you, the guidance that was issued by Secretary HUD's General Counsel, Helen Konofsky, in April of this year, and I think a copy of it will be sent out to you after this presentation. It doesn't say that you shouldn't use criminal background checks. What it says is be thoughtful in how you use them because of the potential for disparate impact. One of the things that the guidance kind of makes really clear is you don't want to limit somebody from your housing or eliminate them from housing merely based upon the fact that they have a record of arrest. Right? The fact that somebody's been picked up, that goes onto a rap sheet, it goes into the FBI's index, which is used on that, but that doesn't tell us anything about that. I was a Navy lawyer before I came here. I've worked 20 years pro bono work with homeless population in the city. Let me tell you, people get arrested all the time, and the DA dismisses those charges because of insufficient evidence. If we screen people out merely because somebody was picked up by a police officer and spent a night in jail and not charged, that's going to have a major impact on their life. It could affect their eligibility for housing. And that is not justified. The Supreme Court has weighed in on cases like that, says we should not use records of arrest merely as that. Moving on from that, what if somebody does have a criminal background check? How many of you do use some form of criminal background check? It's fairly common in the industry. Well, basically everybody in the room almost here. I hate to say it, I have a criminal background check, some of the things I wish I hadn't done in college. Yeah, too much information. Here's what I want to say about that and what Helen Konofsky's guidance says to you. These are the things that you should consider when you're in your policies about when you're screening people out for criminal background if they have an actual conviction on their record. The first things, and these are things probably you can all figure out on your own, but I just want to go over them. First of all, when did the conviction occur? Is it recent or is it 10 years ago? Something that somebody did and how old was the person when the conviction occurred? We all have things probably, no, I shouldn't assume that. Some of us have things that we wish we hadn't done when we were young and that we would know better as our brains form a little bit better and our judgment is not so impaired on that. Those are things that maybe something that happened a long while ago may be less important than something that happened pretty recently. Obviously, you want to consider the type of offense. But beyond the type of offense, you want to consider the likelihood that that's going to impact their tenancy. And let me just give you some examples on that. somebody who writes bad checks on the general scheme of things, of criminal violations, we might think that that's pretty low, but that's something that could be a problem for you as a landlord, right? Of somebody who has a history of writing bad checks, not meeting their just obligations, is something you would be concerned about. We don't think of writing bad checks as nearly so egregious a violation as somebody who's committed, involuntary manslaughter. You'd go to prison for a lot longer for involuntary manslaughter. But the truth of the matter is, if involuntary manslaughter was related to drunk driving charge where a person killed, is that likely to affect that person's ability to be a good tenant or not? Probably not. So, just think about the nature of the conviction, but also, is what that person did, is it something that's really going to make them a bad choice of a tenant? Similarly related to that is considering the person's prior rental history. If they've been living in another apartment and they paid their rent on time and haven't caused disturbances, and that's been a pattern you've seen since their discharge from prison, then maybe that person doesn't pose much risk at all to you, right? Does that make sense? Yes. Oh, I don't know. I have a history of not paying attention to the slides at all, and so you get to read the slides later on, and I hope you're listening, or I hope I'm making any sense at all.
Actually, you're at the bottom.
Okay.
Right now.
And then finally, I just wanted to say is considering a record of rehabilitation. If a person has served out their sentence in jail and they were on probation for a period of time and they've been off of that and there have been no prior arrests or anything related to that since that time, maybe that's somebody you want to give a break. All this to say is that this is merely considered guidance. It wasn't meant to draw a line in the sand and to tell you what you could and couldn't do. But the purpose of this memo by Helen Konofsky is to say, take a look at your policies, your screening policies, and just think about these things that are doing it. But I should have said at the beginning, it's really good if you're going to be screening people out using criminal histories, that you have a policy in writing. And of course, it goes without saying that you want to try to be as consistent with that policy and application of it as you possibly can on that. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for coming today on a rainy day. It's great to see this room full. Any of you have any questions on this specifically? Or?
I guess the one word I would use or offer to you is the word interactive, in that you don't make a solid yes or no decision, but you enter into a conversation with the applicant and allow them to explain or answer your questions. And out of that interactive, you can make some determination of their risk or not.
That's a really excellent suggestion. Interaction with them to find out about the history and the background and all that stuff on it, right? And I know that there's, risk of doing that is that there's a little bit of judgment involved, and with judgment comes a little bit possibility of, discriminatory or, implicit biases and all those things that we're aware of. But I still think that that's a really good practice on it. Years ago, when I was doing an investigation down in Los Angeles, I remember the respondents had their attorney there, and I was asking a lot of questions and trying to figure out why they had treated there had been testing of the complex, and the black tester had been treated slightly different than the white tester, had given slightly different information. I was asking this housing provider why that might have happened, and the respondent's attorney said, well, because my client isn't a robot like your government employees, and so, but I mean, there is discretion that's involved in that. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you so much, Jeff. So now we're going to introduce our final speaker, which is Mr. Bob Dutra, who's going to give some IT updates.
So Devin's going to click for me, so hands-free too. Okay. I was asked to give the same presentation I gave at the last industry meeting, which was also the same presentation I gave at the prior industry meeting. Apparently, it's a big topic of interest to you guys. And I have nothing else to say. Everything is working fine in ITville. So anyway, you guys want to know how to get a list of all the account executives who are servicing properties managed by your company. What do you do? Okay, next slide, please. This is a slide that you saw this morning that Marie showed you. It lists all property assignments alphabetically. So anything with the A starts, click on the A. But the bottom says full list. That's for you to use. that one you click on, and it gives you the name of the project, your company, alongside the property. Does anyone see an error on this screen? You can see the one, compare the one mentally you saw this morning from Marie. What's different about it? It's a trick question, I know. Okay, this one shows one entry for full list. I think the one Marie showed two. That's because we now have over 5,000 properties, and our web manager couldn't upload all 5,000 in one listing. It was just too big. So he had to break it out into two. Well, that makes things awkward for you because now your properties are in two different lists. You can't use both. So what I'm thinking I may do next time is instead of sorting by property name, I'll sort by property management name. So all your properties should be in the same list anyway. So this is trial and error to get this thing right. Okay. Someone mentioned Alpine this morning. The last Alpine properties were unassigned last night. So this morning, first thing I did this morning, I sent a new listing of property assignments to our web manager. So they should be showing up today. So when you get home or back to the office today, and you click on those links, you should not see any more Alpines. So it should be current as of yesterday. Could you go back one, Davin? Okay. Marie's slide showed you the URL to get to this page. If you have it saved, it's fine. But to me, the easiest way to do it is just at the bottom. Click on HUD at Work. Click on State Information. Click on California. If you don't like California, you could pick Nevada or Alaska or Hawaii or any other states that Alexa talked about, except the ones for Denver. You click on Denver, you're not going to get here. But click on any of our states, it's fine. And then there's a link on for multifamily housing. Click on that, you end up right here. So it's easy to remember. State information, California or whatever, multifamily housing, and there you are. And then you click on one of the links for the full list until I get that fixed. Okay, Davin, next page. And this is what you'll see then. The property management company on the far right. Okay. Does anyone see a mistake on this screen? No. Okay, well, this is old. Thank you. This is old Alpine. But we had to take that whole email column out entirely. It was just too big. So that was part of the problem with loading. So we took it out. We thought that would let us to condense it to one list. But apparently it's still too big. So we're back to two lists with no email on it. Okay, next slide. So if you're using Internet Explorer, and you want that listing to be in Excel, you can do a right-click anywhere on that list and select Export to Microsoft Excel. And then the data will load into an Excel spreadsheet. Or you can do select all, copy and paste if you want to. It's a different way to do it. If you have any garbage on that Excel spreadsheet, when you download, you want to get rid of it. Then the next slide. And then once you do that, you can, if you know Excel, you can manipulate it to either filter by or sort by your company. Okay. Does anyone see an error on this page? You, sir, what's your name?
Barry.
Barry. Okay, Barry, you see any problem with this?
I still have the emails.
No.
Oh, you go. The only error is you didn't spell my name right. Yeah, you have some. No, actually, it looks pretty good.
Okay. The first entry, that Barcelona Associates doesn't match the other ones. Now, what does that mean? Different company. More specific, what does it mean? Different tax identification number, EIN. So is that first Barcelona Associates the same as the other Barcelona Associates? You say no?
No.
It's not the same?
It's not.
Oh, it's not the same. Well,
It's not.
that ruins my whole joke.
It's not a mistake. I'm sorry.
It's not a mistake. So that is not your
Two different companies.
two different companies. Wow. I didn't know that. That ruins my whole day, Barry. I was going to have a whole thing about this. I was going to ask how many tax returns your companies. Anyway, okay. So in this case, you have to guess. How do you know it's different, though? You're the only one, right? Anyway.
Yeah, it is.
It is, okay. So anyway, you get all the Barcelona associates together, and then you delete the one you don't want, and there you are. Any questions about that? Okay. And I will work on that listing. I think I will sort them by management companies, so at least all the Bs will be together, and so it'd be a little easier to find the company you want. Okay, that's it for me. Alexa now is going to take your questions, concerns, and comments, and give some closing comments. There she is. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bob. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. So we have a few minutes left, and I just want to open it up to any announcements from the industry. I know Barry had something he wanted to share. And if anybody else wants to speak, I welcome you to come up to the
that online. Yesterday afternoon, our president, Travis Hanna, died after a short but very serious illness. And so we are regrouping a little bit today with our executive committee, and we wish Travis Hanna's family well, and our thoughts and prayers are with him. If you know Travis, he's the guy that's always done your fair housing and your affirmative for housing marketing plan training. He's been very present around HUD and AMA. So keep their family in your prayers. Thanks.
Thank you, Barry. Is there anybody else have anything they want to share, or are there any questions that anybody wants to share? Sure, we'll start over here, and I'll repeat it for those on the.
I just have a general question about funds from HUD, the federal government, to put into more homeless programs, veterans programs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if that's ever going to happen? I mean, there's such a large population of homelessness, particularly in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's a nationwide issue now, but I mean, what is the plan exactly to try and really assist a lot of these homeless people that are on the street?
Right, absolutely. So the question for those of you online was, given the urgency and, HUD's commitment to addressing homelessness as a challenge, as an issue in housing, are there any plans to commit any federal funds or for any new programs that could include funding to provide services for homeless or to assist with housing the homeless? So I agree. Yes, what we have right now, the programs that are out, there is currently no program funded that includes federal funds specifically allocated to provide services to house the homeless. What we do have is the preference, and the way the preference is laid out in the toolkit is we encourage you to partner with your local continuum of care and to try and find local resources, nonprofit resources that might be available to help fund services. I know there have been some proposals. Speak up. Okay. There have been some proposals put forth, some legislature put forth that would potentially provide funding for some homeless services. But as far as I know, none of that has been passed or approved yet. So I think everyone recognizes, certainly on the HUD side, as I know everyone in the industry recognizes the need to fund these types of programs. But at the present time, I don't. And Marie is adding something.
And I guess I would just add that that HUD as a whole also does have some programs, such as HUD VASH, and with our.
I guess that's true, VASH.
Development. So I think we've housed over 40,000 veterans over the last 5 years through what's called the HUD VASH program, and we partnered with the VA. So there are certainly some. I think with multifamily, we don't have any specific funding around that, but with our Office of Community Planning and Development and with our Office of Public and Indian Housing, we are certainly working for that.
Yes, and so for those of you on the webcast, thank you, Marie. I always forget I'm so multifamily focused, I forget that there's a bigger HUD out there. So yeah, absolutely, as Marie pointed out, Marie Maswy, our branch chief. There are non-multifamily HUD programs that help with veteran homelessness, particularly VASH vouchers. So VASH vouchers are made available through our Office of Public and Indian Housing, administered by housing authorities. But those are they're portable vouchers that are available to veterans that have they're available to veterans. So there are other programs, just not in multifamily. And I think we had something else.
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question about funding, because that seems to be a raging debate between progressives and moderates in San Francisco. And I was homeless, so this is a very personal experience for me. I spent a lot of time on the street and struggled. And I own a home today, thankfully, close by here, about 5 blocks away. But, I was very interested in President Obama's toolkit for housing, and I know it's very controversial with people in San Francisco and California, the idea of by right, construction, being able to build, streamlining approvals. And last year I was in Tokyo and Singapore, and I was just shocked to find out that people own their homes in Singapore for 20% of income. Nationwide, I mean, the citywide, 90% of the people own a home. Tokyo, you could rent a market rate apartment for $800. So I'm wondering if HUD is going to be working, if there's any hope that HUD can work with some of these ideals that Governor Brown and President Obama have talked about in terms of making it easier to just build housing in San Francisco and California.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more to report on that at this point. I mean, I agree that I think we all agree that that's a challenge in terms of, I think here in multifamily housing, we've struggled with, just cuts to the programs that we did have in place to develop new housing. I mean, as you know, our Section 202 and 811 programs, the capital advance programs, are no longer being funded. So I think, we're in this environment now where I think the policy shop in Washington and multifamily is looking for creative ways to sort of expand upon the existing build upon the existing subsidy programs we have in place, so that we can maintain the current stock we have and transfer subsidy to the extent that we can, and look at creative ways to bring in new funding. But I think currently we're restricted by the funding that we have available. But I agree. I think the path forward is going to be through these innovative partnerships and working with local communities and state and municipal governments. So I wish I had something more to report, but we can announce new programs as they come out. But yeah, unfortunately at this time I have nothing new to announce beyond what we've shared. Over here.
I have a question about the status of the supportive services demonstrations for the elderly.
Yes.
Do you know when the applicants will be notified if they've been selected?
Good question. The very timely question. So the question was about the supportive services for the elderly, NOFA, Notice of Funding Availability, that went out earlier this year. I think the application period ended in April. So we have been actively reviewing applications. We're actually reviewing local applications here in this office, and we have been for about a month. So I think that we're getting to the end of the review period, and I imagine that the notification should be going out shortly, hopefully before hopefully this calendar year, if not shortly thereafter. But we are still reviewing. So you haven't heard yet because they haven't made any announcements yet. Anything else right here?
Half projects that are going through re-syndication or upcoming re-syndication, how do you think the staff changes are impacting the Chapter 15 resets if they're going to be submitted, say, the next month or two? How long do you think it would take to do a review and approval?
So the question was for properties that are going through re-syndication tax credit transactions that want to submit HAP renewals under Chapter 15 of the Section 8 renewal guide with the reassignments and the portfolio shifts. How long do we think the processing times will take? So I would say that, I encourage you to follow the procedure we've put in place. If you submit things electronically, we have all the assignments in place now, so it should be routed to the right. Work with your PBCA and your assigned HUD account executive. And hopefully if it's submitted now, we should be able to process it along our typical processing timeframes. I know that there have been some delays during the transition, and a lot of that was with work going to the contractor and then the contractor's contract going away and the work coming back. There was some reshuffling as we kind of got our arms around that workload and made sure it got to the right place. But I would say requests that are coming in now, you should be coming in, fresh to the process. So hopefully those delays won't be there. So, yeah.
What can we see with the MORs for the Prime 202s in the future?
So the question is, what can you expect with MORs for PRACs, for Section 202 PRACs in the future? So I mean, we've been, as you know, those are not overseen by PBCAs, so those are performed by HUD staff. So I mean, I think we've been performing those on an as-needed and as-able basis by HUD staff. We haven't done as many as we would like to or should over the past few years, just because of resource constraints and staff limitations. But now that we are expanding and we're staffing up, I think, we're going to be putting that on our list of things that we want to address as we move forward as the new region. So hopefully we will be doing more of those this fiscal year. Question?
If you had a project or something going on with Alpine, do you still go through the main state portal if it's already an active project, or do you go straight to your contact if it's been moved over from Alpine to your contact?
So the question was, if your property has been with Alpine, and it sounds like you had a request in process with Alpine that had been submitted, do you now submit through the state portal, or do you work directly with your assigned HUD account executive on the transaction? So I would say hopefully your request has been transferred to the assigned HUD account executive. We took all the in-process from work from Alpine and reassigned it out to the new HUD account executives. So I would say reach out to them if you can find them. If you're not getting a response, you can absolutely resubmit through the state portal. That'll make sure that it gets logged and tracked in our system. If it's not already, it should already be logged and tracked in our system. I wish I could say we're operating at 110% all the time, but it's like I said, it's been a transition. So I would say if you're not getting a response, or you feel that you're not getting a timely response, you can resubmit it through the state portal, or you can reach out directly to your account executive. And as a reminder, we are in the process of transitioning to a new streamlined email inbox where we're just going to have one inbox for San Francisco and one for Denver, and we'll be rolling that out soon. So I know you love the state mailboxes, and they'll be phased out over time, so you won't have to stop using them. They won't stop working tomorrow, but we are going to be moving to a simpler model. Anything else? Yeah.
Next time, can we have a microphone?
Was it hard to hear? Yeah, I think we have the microphone for the webcast, and I think what we found in the past is if we have two microphones, then the folks listening online hear this weird echo. So we're working out the technology. I think we all need to go to voice class maybe and learn to project. We'll put that on the budget.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
We have 18%, 80% of our property is managed by a third-party management company. Now, how could we measure they're in compliance with HUD or Section A? When we don't get any notification because they go directly to the management company address.
Okay, so the question is, it sounds like you're a property owner,
Yeah.
and you said most of your properties are managed by a third-party management company, and you were wondering if there's some way to gauge or measure their compliance with HUD programs because the communication is passed through the management. Direct from HUD is going directly to the management company. I mean, I would say, and maybe one of my account executives or senior account executives can chime in here too. I mean, I would say your management company should be sharing information with you. So I would say if you have questions about outcomes of any HUD compliance reviews or compliance findings, you should be obtaining those from your management company.
But we wonder that when the non-compliance letter or notices goes to the property management company, we don't know anything about that.
You're not getting CC'd on them?
Yeah.
You should come talk to me afterwards and we can talk about what's happening with your particular properties. Yeah. Anything else? All right, well, if there's nothing else, to those of you watching online, thank you so much for participating, and everyone here, thank you so much for joining us.